head towards town. We're a half mile down on the left.
Help us fight for life and train the CSRA. Contact the American Heart Association for details. On your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Stacks of much-needed school supplies handed out today. Why it's so much more important this year.
And dozens get help filling out the census, but we need thousands more, or it could eventually mean losing a congressman. We'll explain. But first this evening, we're learning more about what led up to the shooting death of a local code enforcement officer yesterday.
We're told the Richmond County Marshal's Office and code enforcement were at the home on 13th Avenue 2 days before the shooting, working to deal with a condemned property and this junk car. On the day of the shooting, Officer Charles Chip Case was only there to put a condemned sticker on a house there. We're also learning more about the man accused of killing Case. Records show Smitty Melton has been in jail before. He's been arrested for aggravated assault, drug possession, and larceny.
Now he's charged with murder after the death of Chip Case. His death is raising questions also about the risk of the job in code enforcement.
Sydney Heiberger told us what their job entails.
Code enforcement officers are not certified law enforcement officials. That means they're not allowed to carry weapons on them, even though they often serve some of the most crime-ridden and blighted areas of the city. Richmond County Marshal Ramon Lampkin says Officer Charles Case was posting a notice on a condemned property when he was shot and killed. Literally, that just means putting up a sign, right?
That's correct. Just putting up the stickers when they say it's condemned.
All in all, it's a pretty basic task, but Marshal Lampkin says there's always risk associated with going onto someone's property.
But you never know. I mean, with this job.
Code enforcement isn't law enforcement, which means they can't carry weapons. Code enforcement does work closely with the Marshal's office, who are armed, but due to the mundane nature of posting a sticker on a property, Case was alone yesterday.
We had a lot of deputies that worked with him closely. And, you know, and it's hard for them yesterday. Yesterday was a very difficult day.
City leaders think maybe it's time to revisit how code enforcement operates.
We need to let the investigation of the crime that was committed run its course. Hopefully at the end of that, we'll be able to make some much better educated decisions on whether code enforcement needs to be part of the Marshal's Department or whether it needs to stay alone.
But for now, they're just focused on sending thoughts, prayers, and love to the family.
I just think it's too soon to talk about anything about combining anything right now. I just want to be respectful of the family.
Meanwhile, code enforcement officials used to have to call the Marshal's office whenever they wanted to issue a ticket or citation. That policy changed in March, meaning code enforcement officers are now allowed to issue their own tickets and citations, but they're still not allowed to carry weapons. In Augusta, Sydney Heiberger on your side.
So weather now, here's a look outside over new tonight. In just the last few hours, Columbia County released their numbers for new cases in their schools from this past week. 4 more elementary schools saw student cases this week in almost all high schools except for Evans High. Again, to be clear, these are only new cases reported this week. And here's the number of active cases right now. 23 students and 9 staff. To put these numbers into perspective, that's less than 1% of their staff and less than 0.1% of their students.
Also new tonight, Augusta University has updated its fall schedule after the Masters decided to go on without patrons this year. That week will not be a normal week of school. On top of that, Thanksgiving break is now a week long and the term ends earlier. Commencement, as you can see, is unchanged. We're going to have that schedule changes for you up on our website for you to see.
New tonight, we're learning more about a former Georgia State Patrol trooper facing murder and aggravated assault charges. Back on August 7th, investigators say Trooper Jacob Thompson began pursuing Julian Lewis in Screven County after spotting a broken taillight.
It led to Thompson using a pit maneuver to stop Lewis's car. Lewis crashed and police say Thompson shot him. Lewis's family wants justice and a review of the trooper's background. We found Thompson had been a trooper since 2014. In that time, there were 3 complaints against him.
2 of those claims of misconduct and racial profiling in a traffic stop. GSP closed those cases, calling them unfounded. In the 3rd complaint, he was disciplined for being unprofessional at a crash scene. His personnel files included mostly positive reviews. He was also awarded Trooper of the Year at his post back in 2019.
You've been hearing ads for it and hearing politicians say it all year long. Fill out the census.
And we know parents in Aiken County getting some much-needed school supplies today as their kids go back to school in less than 2 weeks. The first day is August 31st.
And this is just one of 4 different supply drives today after a nonprofit collected more than 1,000 different supplies. Kennedy Harris spoke with organizers about why these drives are especially important this year.
With added necessities for school this year like masks and hand sanitizer, supplies might be adding up for parents. But one group is stepping in to help. Notebooks, pencils, and crayons are just a few of the items gifted to Warrenville Elementary today.
We kind of brainstormed throughout the entire summer, like how can we still give back to the community. And one of the ways that we wanted to do it is we said, hey, how about we just go to different schools?
Marcus Schultz is co-organizer for True to Your Soul. His group hosts a back-to-school drive event every year. The pandemic canceled this event, but it didn't stop them from lending a hand. Instead, they delivered supplies directly to Aiken schools.
That's helping out a parent to where they can focus on something else that they may need. We know what's going on in this day and age, so we're just thankful that we can give back to the community.
He says passing out supplies this year gave a more personal touch.
To be able to come to the school and physically speak to the principal and speak to different employees that work for the school, it's always a good feeling to kind of see what they're looking for and what kind of impact that it also help the teachers out.
The National Retail Association says in 2020, the average family will spend $789 on school supplies. That's almost $100 more than last year, and additional costs are adding to the stress.
It means a lot to our parents, to our students, to the community. Every single year, we're always grateful when someone takes the time to donate to our school. This year especially, with the pandemic and so many people being without jobs, etc., it's just wonderful.
And for parents in Aiken who still need supplies, there's a school supply drive tomorrow from 12 to 2. More information on that is on our website. Reporting in Aiken, Kennedy Harris, on your side. True to Your Soul collected over 1,500 supplies. They plan to deliver supplies to Greendale Elementary next Friday.
And because of the pandemic, some students in South Carolina who normally might have attended a 4-year university are choosing to stay closer to home and find a technical college nearby.
Jason Raven hears from students in colleges today on this new trend.
Well, students I spoke with say they chose to go to a 2-year college for affordability and the likelihood of having in-person instruction for the whole semester. Now, technical colleges I spoke with say they're glad to be playing a big role with helping these students during the pandemic.
A lot of kids from my high school.
Julia Raycroft is attending a technical college in the upstate this semester.
And we don't know what the next couple of months hold, so it's better I made this than tried the other school.
When the COVID-19 pandemic hit this spring, she had to adjust her college plans because of the uncertainty surrounding the virus.
Would I rather pay all that money just to do it at home, or would I rather save money and get like a year done at this technical college?
Now, this is a trend that some technical colleges in South Carolina are noticing this semester as they reopen their campuses to students and staff safely.
Anecdotally, we've heard from students and from students' parents about them wanting to make this shift to a 2-year college instead of a 4-year college this year.
The colleges say overall enrollment might be down this semester compared to last year. That's typical for most schools right now, but they see why students who normally would attend a 4-year university are opting for the local technical college, at least for this semester.
It makes sense because we are about a third the cost of a 4-year university, and we offer the same thing. Our courses are transferable.
Raycroft, who wants to be a therapist one day, says she is happy to have some in-person instruction this semester and hopes it stays that way.
I'm going to do this year and then see what happens the next couple of months.
Some technical colleges in South Carolina are still accepting students right now, so we won't have any final enrollment numbers until later on this fall. In Lexington County, I'm Jason Raven.
There are 16 schools in South Carolina's technical college system.
We now have tropical